Yo, what is up, everybody? This is Jumpin here, and I am very excited today to bring you this awesome gameplay. This is going to be the Krogan Melee is back. Although, that is up for debate, and I'll get into that in the video. Alright, first thing for this Krogan Melee build that you're going to want is Shredder Mod, just in case you come across Guardians. You can kill them fast and easy. And then the final one is going to be the Melee attachment. That's super standard. If you look, I have 185% recharge speed. They have totally buffed the Krogan Vanguard, which is amazing because this is my favorite character in the game. Alright, so for your charge for the melee build, you're going to want melee synergy and then barrier and radius. One thing they did is that they actually increased the total damage protection of barrier now, so it's 40%. So go for barrier strength, power synergy. They actually increased the power synergy by an additional 5%, so it's 30% now. And I still like power recharge, just so I can charge a lot. This is the melee build, but I'll get into all that when we get started. Alright, now for the Krogan Battlemaster, damage and capacity, power damage, and then shotguns. Just to get as much maximum weight as possible so you can charge a lot. And then now, apparently, I've read that they have fixed the rage, so pure rage, everything on the top, all melee damage, and it's insane. If you look, he has 105% more melee damage, so that got a buff by 10%. And if it's true that the rage is actually fixed, this guy's going to be ridiculous. Now, another thing they did too was that they increased his total health and shields. I'll get into that as well. For the equipment, I'm going to be using Disruptor Rounds 4. Don't ask me why. You don't really need that. Strength Enhancer 3, very, very necessary. 100% more melee damage. Berserker Package, you could go for hydraulic joints, but I don't have that, and I only have Berserker Package. And then the Shield Booster 2. I don't have any 3s or 4s, otherwise I would recommend them. Alright, so let's get into the gameplay. First thing I want to say is I was so excited when my buddy Ascidian told me about this. I first realized, we were talking, and he was trying to do a Krogan Melee. And I told him, have you ever tried the Krogan Vanguard Melee build? And he was like, no. And so he asked me to show him the build. So I got on to the Krogan Vanguard and I took a look. And right away I noticed that, wait a minute, his health was 1850 and his shields were 1850. So I was shocked. I was like, whoa, they buffed him. Because it used to be 1600. Second, I noticed that. I was very surprised by that, for one. And then the next thing, and I'm going to have a little bit of epic fails, but believe me, I will warm up. And I will show you my Krogan martial artist abilities. But anyway, so like I said, I noticed right away that because of the buff, the first question I asked was, wait a minute, did they fix rage? So Ascidian got on the forums, he checked it out. Apparently they have not only buffed the crap out of the Krogan Battlemaster, because they really have buffed this guy so much. I mean, everything that he has somewhat got a buff, which is amazing. And I don't know why. They really did not need to buff this guy. If you guys know about the Krogan, the Rieger Crowbine build I have, that's one of my favorite builds. Probably my favorite in the whole game. And I think everyone who has tried that build has thought it was amazing. So for them to buff him, like, that's kind of like crazy to me because he's already so good with that build. And now he's just going to be so much better. Now this is the melee build. I wanted to try this out because of the fact, apparently, on the forums, people were talking about that they said that they fixed the rage glitch, which would be amazing. He would get an additional 80% melee damage. And if you combine all of it together, it's like 350%, something like, I don't know, it's like 400, I can't even tell you how much it is. It's a ridiculous amount of damage though, if you add up all the buffs that you could put on this guy. And his base damage for his melee, I believe, is 750. So 750 times like 300 bajillion buff, because I don't know how much it is, like I said, but it's really ridiculous. It's crazy. Like, he can one hit almost anything on gold after a charge. So, like I said, you just gotta get used to you really gotta get used to the melee. It can be a little tricky. This is like my first game coming back to the Krogan Vanguard melee build, and I decided to put it on Firebase White Cerberus, and we were not playing Unknown Unknown. I picked this, so we're not gonna get the Unknown Unknown bonuses for experience. But the reason why I picked this map and this faction was because the last time I did a video using the Krogan Vanguard melee build on gold, it was on this map against Cerberus. So I wanted to just kind of compare the two from back then to now. And the truth of the matter is, yes, there has been a buff. But let me go ahead and tell you a little bit more about what's going on this week with the update. So besides the fact that they really buffed the crap out of the Krogan Vanguard, because the honest to God truth though, guys, is that I still think the Rieger Krogan build is way better than the melee build. I would highly recommend the Rieger Krogan build, especially since they have buffed his health and shields and his power synergy from his barrier and his barrier in general. He's going to be now more of a tank than ever, and it's insane that they have done that. But anyway, the other big thing they did was they really buffed blade armor, and I'm really happy about that. Blade armor now, it used to be that when you actually went for the 5th evolution, which was 75% or something like that. I think, yeah, it was 75% more melee damage returned. Now they buffed that to 250%, and they also went ahead and buffed the blade armor to give you 40%, a total of 40% damage protection if you want it. So that's really amazing as well. It's going to make blade armor a lot better. But the thing about the 250%, which is insane, and I'm going to go super ham this round. It's going to be comedy. I won't call it out sometimes, but you will see guys go flying further than you have ever seen them go flying off the map. It's really funny, so pay attention to that. Anyway, like I was saying, so blade armor got an increase, and now the increase is 250%. So if it were, see, it used to be that blade armor, in my opinion, wasn't really worth it when it came down to melee return damage. Because if a brute hits you and you had blade armor on and melee return damage, it took about 2 bars of armor down, maybe 3 bars, and that was decent. But it still like resulted in you dying a lot by letting the brute either hit you or something along those lines. So now with the two, like that right there, look at that guy go flying. But now, because of the new buff to it, it should do a massive amount of damage. I believe a brute hitting you will do about 2,000 damage to the brute, and I don't know how much armor that a brute actually has. I think it's probably like 6,000 armor, something along those lines. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 6,000 armor, and if that's the case, that's 1/3 of its health just from one melee on you. So that's really insane, really broken. Phantoms are going to kill themselves like crazy now, so definitely try out the new blade armor. I might bring out another video with the Batarian Soldier Rieger Carbine build I had before and just show that off a little bit. Anyway, so let me go ahead and get back to this. Now, did they actually fix the rage? That is up for debate in my opinion. I used this guy, and I can honestly say I don't think they did. I don't know. I really don't know. But I really do not believe they did, because when I have rage on, it feels the same as if I didn't have rage on. So it's just really up to you guys. I don't really know. It's still fun as hell to use the Krogan Vanguard melee build. It's fun. It's so much fun. I love it. The only thing that's not fun is when you miss his melee like crazy. But if you can get used to aiming his melee and actually charging and then meleeing, because you want to be able to stun the enemies. That's very important, is to stun the enemy and then to go ahead and melee. And if you do that, you'll pretty much will kill a lot of the enemies. Most enemies, not all of them, but most enemies, and not bosses. But it is extremely effective. It is extremely fun. So definitely try this build out. Even if the rage is not fixed, it's still a very good and very consistent build to play. It's probably one of the best melee builds in the entire game. Right here, I'm going to go down finally, which was really kind of odd in a way. But it's definitely one of the best melee builds in the whole game, just from the fact that he's such a tank. He can charge to get his shield back. His charge is so powerful, it stuns like every enemy. And his melees are really good. Without the rage, though, if the rage is still glitched, it does hurt him a little bit, because if his rage was not glitched, I actually would kill all these guys one hit. Like every enemy with full shields would die one hit. And that's one reason why I do think that it is still glitched, because if you try this on a Krogan soldier and you went ahead and had rage going with martial artists on at the same time with 100% more melee damage from the strength enhancer. If you tried all that, combined all that, you would actually one hit any enemy with a shield on gold. At least I believe you would. I actually really think you would. So I don't know. That's my biggest beef with it. But overall, though, it's still a lot of fun, like I said. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, which a lot of you guys have been wanting me to talk about this, and I really need to talk about it, is the new DLC coming out on Tuesday. The new DLC is actually going to be the Earth DLC. It's going to contain 6 new human classes, or 6 new human people, and it's going to have 3 new maps. All the maps are going to be on Earth, which is really cool. It's gonna actually have 3 new weapons, just like almost all the DLC has contained 3 new weapons. And the other thing which I heard about, which I'm not too sure about, but if it is true, it's crazy, is that they're gonna come out with 12 new weapon mods. That sounds insane. 12 new weapon mods. And then the other thing, besides the weapons mods, is actually 11 new gear. So, I don't know what to say about that. That's insane. 12 new weapon mods, 11 new gear. That sounds really, really amazing. And of course, the 3 new maps. This is definitely the biggest DLC they've came out with, and I think it sounds amazing. It really does. Overall, it does sound amazing. Now, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about, and there's some things I like and some things I hate. The first thing I really like is I like the way the new characters sound. Some of them are really cool. The new human soldier sounds amazing and looks amazing. He has I can't say that right, but it's the terminus, something like that. You know, like the system. You know, I can't talk right, guys. But anyway, he has that armor on, and that armor just looks epic. It looks epic. It was one of my favorite in Mass Effect 2, and it's definitely going to be really cool to look at as you play with him. He's going to contain multi-frag grenade, which sounds to me, and look at that, which sounds to me like it's going to be a cluster nade, but a frag grenade, which sounds extremely broken. He's going to have a new adrenaline rush kind of mode. I don't remember what the name of it was. I think it was like skirmisher mode or something like that. It's something along those lines, but it's going to be a buff mode pretty much, just like adrenaline rush, just like marksman. I don't know what it's going to do, but it sounds like it might be cool. And then the final thing he's going to get is he actually is going to get a power called missile launcher, or something like that. I don't really know if they could call it missile launcher though, like in the kill feed when you think about it. Because if he ran around and he just used a missile launcher power, it would be kind of confusing. Like if it popped up missile launcher at the bottom of the screen. At least that's how I feel. Now a lot of people are thinking like, wow, that sounds ridiculous. Missile launcher? What is that? Like, is that going to be like a real missile? No, I don't think it's going to be that. What I predict, I don't know, but what I predict, it's going to be like it's going to be a Carnage-like power, or a concussive shot-like power. So it's going to be projectile. It's going to probably be because here's how it goes. Concussive shot shoots really quickly. Recharge speed is really quickly, and the projectile itself moves really quickly. So it's really hard for the enemies to dodge it. And Carnage. Recharge speed is a little bit slower, or actually a lot slower, and its projectile speed is a lot slower, so it's kind of hard to hit the enemies with, but its damage is a lot better. So what I think they're going to do is I think they're going to make it so it's actually going to have a longer recharge speed than Carnage. It's going to have a probably slower travel speed than Carnage, but I think it's going to have a massive amount of damage. Probably like over 1,000 damage once you max it out, maybe even more. So if you use it like a shotgun, that was really crazy right there how far she went. But if you use it like a shotgun, and if you used it maybe with a Rieger carbine or a shotgun build and ran up point blank and shot it, it's probably going to be ridiculous. That's my prediction. I don't know if that's right, but I always make predictions about the DLC, and most of them actually come true, to be honest. I will say that most of the predictions I've ever made about this game when it comes down to DLC has been true. But anyway, let me go ahead and get back into all these new people coming out. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is there's actually apparently going to be 2 Phantoms, or X-Service Phantoms, that are going to come out. That sounds amazing. That's something that I actually predicted as well. I thought that eventually they would come out with some type of Phantom class. And one apparently is going to be a Vanguard, It's going to be a male Phantom. It looks kind of like Kai Lane from the single player. And he's going to be the Vanguard. And he's going to contain Charge with 2 new powers. Shadow Strike, which is actually, if you remember, was actually a power from Mass Effect 2. Kasumi Goto had that power. Don't know what that's going to do. That might be some type of an assassination move. It'd be really cool if you would actually stab a guy like a Phantom can. But, actually, I take that back. The Infiltrator is going to get that move. My bad, guys. Actually, no, I think the Vanguard's going to get that move. Because I know the other move that he's going to get is going to be called Bionic Slash. So, that sounds cool as well. It's probably going to be some type of sword swing, and their melees are probably going to be amazing if they use the sword. And like I said, I don't really know what the Infiltrator gets or the Vanguard gets for real, but I just know those 2 powers stood out the most. Shadow Strike, because if you remember from Mass Effect 2, there was a power called Shadow Strike that was Kasumi's power, and it was a really amazing power, so it should be really cool in this game. And the new one, which is a slash or sword move probably, that sounds really cool. But I don't know who gets those. I'm pretty sure that the Vanguard does, and I don't really know what the Infiltrator gets. But so that's really awesome that they're going to come out with a Phantom-like class. That's really, really cool. And if they really need to give it dodge, like if they just gave it the Drell dodge, that would be literally the Phantom dodge. That's exactly the Drell's dodge is the Phantom's dodge. So more than likely, that's something else they're going to add, is that it's going to have a different dodge. It's going to have a Drell dodge for a human. That sounds really cool. The Sentinel sounds amazing, to be honest. It's a Paladin class. It's going to have the only power I know it's going to have for sure is that it's going to have some type of riot shield, like electrical shield that's going to pop out and just wreck. It's going to wreck. So I don't know what it's going to do. I don't think nobody really knows, but it's going to be probably really cool. He's going to be probably a super tank. At least I hope they make him a super tank for a human. They've always needed to make humans stronger. The aliens are have way too much more health and shields, and because of that, it makes humans not that great. You can make some good human builds, but for the most part, the alien builds are a lot better. So that's just kind of how it goes. Like that's the biggest problem I find in this game when it comes down to humans. So the soldier and the sentinel should have a lot more health, to be honest. They really need to buff that for the ones in the game right now. And the new DLC ones, they better have more health, to be honest. And especially this new sentinel, the paladin, like that. I hope he has like Krogan health almost. Maybe not Krogan health, but at least Krogan shields, like 1,500 shields or 1,400 shields. Some ridiculous amount like that. Just make him a straight tank. Like his whole job would be to be a tank, to run in front of all your teammates. And this is going to be really, really a disaster. I don't think I die here, but I was so afraid I was going to die right here. Yeah, I don't die here. Like that was really crazy. I thought I was screwed. But anyway, yeah, they really need to make that guy a tank. So the whole idea of him would be you just follow him around. Stay behind his shield. Like, if he had his shield, even if the shield did no damage to the enemies, but you could just block out damage for you and your squad, that would be amazing. It really would. So, that's the new Sentinel, and it sounds really cool. I think that's one of the coolest sounding ones. And the Engineer. Now, here's where it gets really bad, in my opinion. This is the one thing about the new DLC that I think sounds ridiculous. I think the Engineer is going to be so overpowered, so broken, that you're just going to hear me bitch and moan and cry about it. Because I really I've told you in previous videos, I hate the Quarian Male Engineers and the Quarian Male Infiltrators. Mainly due to their arc grenades. Arc grenades are so overpowered in this game. And the new human engineer is going to have arc grenades. But that's not where it ends. That's not where it ends. Not only is he going to have arc grenades, but he's going to have a new grenade called homing grenades. So he will be the first character in the game to ever have 2 grenades on one build. Now you think, now how the hell would that work? Like, how could that work? Well, this is what they have done, which is really, really crazy, and I cannot believe they would do this. is that his last power is actually going to be a power called, I believe, Supply Depot, something along those lines. And it is exactly how it sounds. You're going to be able to throw out a ammo box for you and your teammates. So what that means is that you will consistently be able to get more nades back for your 2 grenades. And that sounds really crazy. And I just died right here. Once again, I thought I was going to be screwed. But I'm going to charge my way out of here and go beat the crap out of some people again. Anyway, but like I was saying, it's really, really insane that they're going to do that. Now, there is one thing I will say. Hopefully, they keep it like the single player. If you guys don't know, in the single player, if you have 2 grenades on your Shepherd person, or if you have 2 grenades on Shepherd, if you throw, let's say you have frag grenades and inferno grenades, because I've done this before, and let's say you throw all your frags at the normal enemies, and then you come across a boss, and this is actually kind of crazy right here. There's an Atlas flying in the air. And that's really terrible when that happens, because you never want an Atlas shooting down at you. So when that happens, it's really, really bad. But anyway, yeah. So if you have, let's say in single player you have 6 frags and 6 Inferno nades. If I was to throw all 6 frags, I actually lose all 6 Inferno nades as well. Grenades don't work like that, I guess, where you can have 2 different grenades and chuck like 12 grenades. It doesn't work like that. But for the multiplayer, I don't know how they're going to do it. They might make it so it's not like that, where you can actually shoot or actually have a total of like 14 nades with the grenade box. If they kept it like the single player and made it so if you just ran around and threw out the arc grenades the whole time, which that's something else you have to think about. What if the homing grenades suck? That is a possibility. If the homing grenades suck, or maybe they could just be really, really godly. Who knows? But if they suck, then that means you're going to have potentially an infinite throwing arc grenade person in the game. Now, there's a couple things they could do to make it not so broken. Make it so the recharge power time on the supply depot is really, really, really ridiculous. That could be something they could do, which would be really awesome. This is going to be objects. When you ever get objects and you're playing as a Krogan, just a Krogan in general, especially the Vanguard, make sure you go ahead and you take them. It's so much easier and so much better, because if you just do the headbutt, I know before in a previous video I said do the heavy melee, but no, if you look, the headbutt is so much quicker. And there's always Krogans that come into my game and they try to do the heavy melee. I have to tell them, no man, do the headbutt, it's a lot faster. Ain't nothing wrong with the fact they do the heavy melee, they just don't know. So yes guys, do the headbutt. But anyway, like I was saying, so the new guy, the new engineer, he sounds really broken. If they make it so it's a really, really long recharge time on the supply depot, that could be kind of balanced. If they make it so that it's like single player where you just can't chuck a million nades, you can't have like a total of 12 or 14 nades because both grenades count as one grenade in a lot of ways, that would also make it not so bad. But the one thing I would want to say for you guys to think about, imagine if you had 4 of those guys. And right here I'm going to get grabbed, but luckily my teammates are going to get me out of it, so thank you, teammates. But anyway, like I said, just imagine if you had 4 of those engineers and you had 4 supply depots powers set up. It would be insane. It really would be insane. Especially if you were going to play Firebase White Geth and you were going to camp. Like, you could just have, you would never have to leave the camping spot unless it's objectives or objects or whatever. During the ejected waves you might have to leave, but every other wave you would never even have to go get ammo, which is insane. And if that's the case, then you can now play on what's that map? Condor. Condor has a really amazing camping spot, but the downside is that you run out of ammo. So now if you don't run out of ammo, I actually might come out of video camping on that map, to be honest, just to show off how amazing that camping spot is. And now with the whole ammo thing, yeah, that would be an amazing spot. So like I said, I don't know. That's the one thing I thought that sounded really ridiculous. Just because I just know from experience from playing with grenade spammers that it's really annoying when someone just spams grenades the whole time. It's really, really annoying. And now that they are going to have infinite nades, That sounds crazy. But anyway, overall though, I think it sounds really awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. It comes out Tuesday, July 17th. So I will definitely do a ton of videos with that, depending on all the new stuff I get. I will do a massive amount of videos. Also, the last thing I forgot to mention, my bad, was that they are adding a new objective to objective waves, and they're adding platinum difficulty. So yeah, can't wait to do that. My first video will be on platinum, and I will be probably using a new person or a new character in the game. So look forward to that, guys, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. As you can tell, it's pretty much over. Just keep in mind we weren't playing unknown unknown, so the score at the end is based off of just regular score, like without unknown unknown. But yeah, that's pretty much it though, guys. So I really hope you enjoyed it, like I said, and have a nice day.